the passing of Bill Walton, Hall of Famer, passing away at the age of 71 years old. Boston Celtic legend Larry Bird among the many to share their thoughts on Monday. I'm very sorry about my good friend Bill Walton. I love him as a friend and a teammate. It was a thrill for me to play with my childhood idol, and together we earned an NBA championship in 1986. He's one of the greatest ever to play the game. I'm sure that all of my teammates are as grateful as I am that we were able to know Bill. He was such a joy to know, and he will be sorely missed. My family and I extend our sincere condolences to the Walton family. Joined now by Dave Pasch to remember Bill Walton. And Dave, when I heard this news this morning, you were one of the very first people I thought of for a dozen years calling college basketball. I thought I remembered the NBA with you and when Bill, but allegedly he said that didn't happen, right? He claims that you didn't do the NBA together. So I don't know if that happened or not, but I know that the college broadcasts with you and Bill are among my favorite and so many of our viewers' favorites. I just would ask you, how do you describe calling games alongside Bill Walton?
Well, how long do you have, Scott? Never experienced anything like it. It was challenging. It was hilarious. I enjoyed every second of it. Well, maybe not every second of it. Getting popcorn poured on my head or a cactus swung around my head wasn't fun. But all in all, he made me a better broadcaster and a better person. He was great to be around. And the last game I did with him was February 1st. We're doing a game at USC, and I think this kind of puts Bill, his broadcasting style, it's like quintessential Walton. George Lucas comes up randomly in the middle of the game, and I said something along the lines of, how did your audition for Chewbacca go? And not only, he goes with it, not only does he say that he auditioned for Chewbacca, he then goes on to say that Chewbacca actually was formed and shaped in Bill's image by George Lucas. Now, we totally made this up, but by the next morning, it's blown up. People magazine, all the Hollywood reporters are not only writing articles about it, but going back to George Lucas quotes from 1977 saying that no, Chewbacca was fashioned after his dog. It had nothing to do with Bill, so they're trying to refute the story that we're just dying laughing about because it's completely made up.
That's Bill in a nutshell. But the quality that he had was that anything he said, Dave, and you were telling me this off air, right? Wilt Chamberlain threw a football underhand 90 yards. Anything he said seemed plausibly true, didn't it?
For the most part. I do remember one time after the Pac-12 tournament, we're doing a Warriors game, and I'm doing a sit-down with Steph Curry. And Steph looks at me as we're getting ready to do the interview, and he goes, "Why didn't you answer Bill's question?" I said, What? Why didn't you answer Bill's question? I'm like, Steph, I don't know what you're talking about. He said, Bill asked you if you've ever been inside of a volcano while it's erupting, and you wouldn't answer the question.
Right.
And so, yeah, that wasn't plausible. But in Bill's mind, maybe it was. You know, Bill often had visions, and so we don't know exactly what he was seeing and if we were seeing the same thing.
Sure, the source of those visions up for debate. But I think that we're smiling because he made us smile and he made us think. And Dave, you'd know better than anyone the joy that this man bounded through life carrying. How do you describe what we didn't see on the air, the kind of joy that he brought to kids that couldn't possibly have known anything about him as a player, but now knew of him as a broadcaster, and the kind of love that he showed those who showed him that kind of love?
Yeah, I think there are two ways to really describe Bill as a kind, sincere, special person. That's the number of people he would have living at his house. If you were, Richard Jefferson was still playing in the NBA, making lots of money and sleeping on Bill's couch until his wife Lori kicked him out. And Gilbert Arenas and J.B. Bickerstaff, all these people were living at Bill's house. And Bill would also have people that he was involved with the Challenged Athletes Foundation and other charities that would just live at Bill's house. You could just knock on Bill's door, even if he didn't know you, and say, I need a place to stay. And Bill would welcome anybody and everybody into his house. And that's because Bill just loved people. And we'd be doing games. There would be people of all ages, shapes, and sizes that would come up to Bill before the game, sometimes during the game and after the game. And Bill always would take time after the game to sign autographs and take pictures. And again, he just loved people. He was sincere, and he was a storyteller, a humanizer of people. He wanted to know your story so he could dig deeper and then present that to the audience.
Dave, you said at the outset that he made you a better broadcaster. I'm just interested as you go through the remainder of your career, and then you go through the remainder of your life beyond doing what it is that we're lucky enough to do. What do you feel like Bill showed you and taught you that you'll carry for the rest of your life?
I think the biggest thing, Scotty, is being yourself on the air, and you've always been great about that. It's, I think, one of the reasons why you're so good at what you do and so many people watch is because they're attracted to your personality because you are who you are on the air. And as a Syracuse-trained play-by-play announcer, and this is a good thing, you're taught a certain style, but at the same time, I think early in my career, I was so focused on that I was just being the broadcaster and not really letting my personality come out. Well, when you work with Bill, you don't have a choice. Your personality is going to come out or it's not going to work. And he brought that out, and he would say, he'd take his headset off sometimes and be like, keep coming at me. There's nothing you can ever say that will offend me.
Right.
And then he would say, no matter what I do or what I say, know that I love you, but don't tell anybody. It's just, he made me a better broadcaster and a better man because of his sincerity and kindness and willingness to just be himself and let the consequences be the consequences.
Dave Pasch, you and Bill Walton were so much fun to listen to and to watch together. I know we'll all miss him, and you more than most, because you've got such a keen insight into the human being that was Bill Walton, and we appreciate you sharing some of those memories with us here tonight. Thank you.
I'm on fire.